Okay, sir. So let us get started. Let us quickly review on what we have discussed yesterday before we start on doing the activities for today. Right. So let me go to directdevops.blog. Right. So this was something which we have discussed yesterday. So we have understood how the cloud plans will work out. Okay, we have discussed about AWS cloud plan and Azure's cloud plan. And the next thing which we have discussed about is we have discussed about process. So we said that whenever you want to run anything on your Windows or Linux machine, a process gets created, and each process will have its own memory allocated to it, and certain CPU shares allocated to it, or cycles allocated to it. And then basically in Linux there are two ways of creating the process. One was fork, the other one was exec. In fork we said that parent will create the clone of itself, and inside that it will start the child process. Exec is parent will create a clone, start the child process and kill itself and assign its ID to it. And then we have tried to understand what a difference between a Linux distribution and a Linux kernel is. Then we have discussed little bit about Linus Torvalds and Andrew Tenenbaum, and we said that Linux kernel is what Linux is all about, and on top of that you would have a shell, and shell will have applications, and this will be taken up, and there will be many other features that will be added by different distributions. And distribution is basically it is a Linux, on top of it additional features added. And to understand that, we have tried to take an example of Oxygen OS of Android, which is from OnePlus, Cyanogen and Samsung OS. That is what we have discussed yesterday. And at the last we have installed Chocolatey on our systems, and I hope Chocolatey is working on your systems. And for the people who are using Mac, I have asked you to install Brew. Right. Okay, sir. Good. So now what we will try to understand is, let us basically try to understand command line way of working. So when you work with command line, how do you work with it? So because generally you have to remember too many commands. If it is UI, there is nothing to remember. This is the mindset which we generally come from. Okay. So let us try to understand our way of working. I am not trying to tell that this is a very standard approach, but this is the approach which I follow, and I have been telling to my students, which will work out for most of you. So let me try to tell you one practical example. Okay. So let us assume that it might have happened, it has happened many times to me, but I am not sure whether it has happened to you or not. When I suddenly try to recollect what is my ATM pin, I will forget. But the moment I go to the automatic teller machine, there I will type the right password. Did this happen to you anytime? Yes? Yeah? So what is the stuff that is happening there? That is called as muscle memory. Since you have entered the same password many times, you might not recollect it, but once you go to the ATM machine, you will type the right one. So now let us try to use commands a lot so that they become muscle memory rather than really remembering the stuff. Okay. So there is a way for doing that. Okay. The first way when you want to learn anything from now on is refer the cheat sheets. Okay. So there is something called as cheat sheet which exists literally for everything. So for example, if I want to work on Windows PowerShell, so I'll just go to the Google and then I'll try to tell that Windows PowerShell cheat sheet. Take anything which you want. I'm not suggesting anything which you feel like. Just click on this. You would have a cheat sheet which basically tries to tell that what that commands will do. Okay. In the same way, let us assume that you are going to work on Linux. So let us try it. Linux cheat sheet. Take anything. I'm just clicking on the things that appear first on the Google search. Okay. So now this is the best way to get started, because there is no way that you are going to do it in a very organized fashion. Okay. This is something which we can do. Okay. Right. And then the next thing which I want you to do is understand basic command line. Okay. Let it be any command line in this world. Okay. Right. It will be looking something like, you would have some command, ideally it is executable, and then this command will basically take arguments. Okay. So the most simple command which we have spoken about it is, okay, so let me try to write ping google.com. Okay. I'm quite sure that you might have used this command, or you might have seen someone using this command. So what they do is they open any terminal and then they type ping google.com. I am not worried about what this ping command does. We are trying to understand the basic structure. So this is command or executable. This is argument. Google.com is argument. So in this case, command is ping and google.com is something which you are going to call it as argument. So now if I want to ping the website where we are writing classroom notes every day, so ping direct DevOps dot blog. Sorry, saying this. So your arguments change, but for doing the same activity, your command will not change. So ping direct DevOps dot blog. Okay, right, sir. Now, so here generally the way ping works in Windows is it will ping 4 times. It will ping four times. Generally, what happens when you try to do a ping is it will send a packet to your server and it expects a response. When it gets a response, it tries to tell that, okay, I have sent the packet, I got the response, and to get that it has taken approximately 28 milliseconds. Okay, so minimum time it has taken to get the response is 18 milliseconds. Maximum time is 28 and average time is okay. Now what I want to do is, how many times the packet has been sent over here, sir? 4 times. Now I want to send 10 times. Okay, that is change in behavior. Change in behavior. So ping -- count 10 direct DevOps dot blog. Hopefully this is correct. Okay, not -r. What is the value? Okay, ping -n. Okay, right. So ping -n 10 direct DevOps dot blog. Now let us see what happens. Is it sending 10 times, sir? But in the earlier case, I have not typed this additional -n10. Okay, right. Now if I try to look at this command, what are arguments now? Okay, command doesn't change, command is still ping. Okay, right. And then arguments, if you try to look at -n is an argument, 10 is an argument, and direct DevOps.blog. Here we have 3 arguments. Are we clear on this? So now when you look at any command, first will you be able to tell what is command and what is argument now? Yes. So for example, when I try doing this, okay, let me try to take, I'll try to take some different stuff now. Okay, touch What is command? In this, touch is the command. And whatever strange looking expression which you are trying to see over there, that is the argument. It doesn't matter what it is. Let us not try to understand command. Let us first try to understand this concept of command and argument. Are you clear on this, sir? Okay. So now Docker container run -d Okay, sir. Now I was trying to type this command. Okay. Whatever that command is, forget about the complexity in that. Don't even try to understand that command. So in this, what is the command? Docker is the command. Whatever you are seeing after Docker is arguments. Okay. Similarly, now what is the command? AWS. It is either called as command or executable, whatever it might do. S3 and LS are its arguments. Okay, right. Fine, sir. Now what we will try to do is, any application has two types of arguments. Okay, the first one is called as positional arguments. The second one is called as keyword arguments. So arguments are of two types now. One is positional arguments, other one is keyword arguments. Okay. So let us basically try to look at some example. One example over here is, okay, there is one command which says cp. Cp tries to tell that cp is a command which is used to copy files. So in cp, first what you need to give is, first argument is source. Second argument is destination. Am I clear on this, sir? Okay, right. So what I'll try to do is, let me go to the temp folder, make dir practice. Don't worry about, there is no need for you to type any of these commands. Okay, let us just understand the first stuff first. So practice, and then let me try to tell that cp. Okay, I don't have any file over here, so let me create a file. So right click, new, where is txt file? Okay, there is no text file, is it? Okay, fine. Don't worry about this command, whatever I am trying to type, we will learn that anyway. Okay, so I think 1.txt over here. Yeah, for some of you, what might happen in Windows is, generally in Windows, whenever you are trying to do over here, please select this file name extension and hidden items. So meelo chaala mandiki ila untadi, one అని చూపెడుతుంది. So for most of you might see one there. The reason is, it is still 1.txt, but you have asked Windows not to show extensions. Okay, and hidden items. Ensure that you are selecting these two things. So 1.txt. Now what I'll try to do is cp 1.txt, and then new destination I am trying to tell is 2.txt. So I am seeing two files now. Okay, so cp src destination. Okay, now let us assume cp 3.txt and 1.txt. So it says it is an error. Why? The first one was source. First argument has to be source. Second argument has to be destination. Actually my intention was to copy 1.txt and create 3.txt, but I have reversed the position. So command suddenly started failing. So if you look at this, it is not only passing arguments, but the position where you pass the arguments is also important. Yes or no? In this arguments, it is just not passing all the arguments. Passing at which position is also becomes important. Okay. Okay. Right. So, right. In the above case, passing arguments was necessary, and along with that, maintaining position was also critical. Okay, because if you change the position, the meaning differs. cp3.txt 1.txt means copy a file called as 3.txt and create 1.txt. But actually we didn't have 3.txt. That's the reason why we were trying to see that failure. Okay, right. So this is the first thing, and generally position arguments are passed directly. Okay, right. So what do I mean by this? You will come to know when you look at next set of arguments. Okay, so this is what? This is position arguments. Now let me speak about my second type of arguments, which are keyword arguments. Okay, sir. Right. So in this keyword arguments, what I'll try to do is, let me try to write ping google.com. So google.com is what? Argument, and then it is positional argument. Now over here I am passing hyphen n and 4, hyphen n and 1. Okay, so it has pinged only once. This hyphen n is the name of the argument, 1 is the value to that argument. Hyphen n tries to tell about how many times do I need to send the request, and the value of that is 1. Okay, right. So now example. Okay, here hyphen n stands for number of echo requests or packets to be sent. Okay, and 1 represents value. So if you try to look over here, we are not speaking about even though there are 2 values, we are speaking about 1 argument. One is the name of the argument, the second one is value of the argument. Okay, so in this case hyphen n, this represents what, sir? Name of the argument. 1 represents value of the argument. Now whenever we are using this named arguments or keyword arguments, okay, now there is no need for you to worry about position. There is no need for you to worry about position, because you are trying to tell the purpose, you are trying to tell what is that about and what is the meaning or what is the value to it. Okay, so arguments have 2 types. Okay, so generally in most of Linux commands, okay, named arguments or keyword arguments, okay, will be in the following form. So whenever they give hyphen, okay, they give a single character over here. Okay, single character. When they give double hyphen, they give a word. Okay, so for example, if you are working on Linux machine, okay, So this is Linux kind of stuff itself. Now let me try to tell that cp hyphen hyphen okay, right, let me try to look into it. Okay, so I saying cp hyphen hyphen recursive. Okay, for example here cp hyphen hyphen recursive and cp hyphen r are the same thing, but whenever you see double hyphens you will see a word, whenever you see a single hyphen you see a smaller notation of it. So ఒకటి short form, ఒకటి long form. One is short form, the other one is long form. So let me give one more example of this. AZ group, okay, create hyphen hyphen help. So let me not even worry about the things, but are you seeing you can give hyphen hyphen location. If you don't want to give hyphen hyphen location, if you want it to be short, you can give hyphen L also. So you can give hyphen hyphen resource group, or you can give hyphen G or hyphen N. Are you clear on this, sir? Yes. So generally whenever you are seeing double hyphens on a Linux machine, that is a full form, single hyphen is a short form, right? Most of the Linux commands follow this structure. Okay, right. Now do we understand these two arguments now, keyword arguments and positional arguments? Okay, so to learn any command, Linux comes with inbuilt manual. Okay, so all you need to do is execute man and cp. Man stands for manual, cp is the command for which you want manual. So if you are working probably on a Linux machine, you would try, if you try to write man cp, okay, okay, on a Windows machine you might not find it because it is still Windows. Okay, so this is one way of it doing it, or this is the way which I prefer these days, cp any command hyphen hyphen help. Whenever you are working what, any command hyphen hyphen help. So okay, sir, if it is Windows PowerShell, okay, don't worry about PowerShell or whatever it is. For me, for us everything is same now. ఏది రాదు కాబట్టి అన్నీ ఒకటే, right? So new hyphen r list hyphen not list get hyphen process hyphen hyphen help. You will not get it over here. Okay, so if it is PowerShell, what you need to do is you need to execute something called as get help and then your command. So get help, get hyphen process. So are you getting this? There is one advantage of Windows. Okay, Windows PowerShell commands. If it is Windows PowerShell commands, the other way is you can try to tell that get help command hyphen online. Okay, let me show you what it is. Get help. Okay, the command which I want to get the help for is get process, and I want to get the help online. Just click on that, it will open the browser and it will try to tell that this is the command which you are trying to look for. Are we clear on this, sir? So Windows, since it has a user interface, it comes with this advantage. Now over here you can see what is the syntax, what is the description. He will give you some examples of how to use it, because that is a Microsoft's way of doing the things. Okay, so are we clear on this now? Yeah. So to get help, what are the two popular ways? One is man command, the other one is help. If it is Windows PowerShell command, Okay, Windows PowerShell should not be called as command. We should be ideally calling this as commandlet, but that's okay. For now it is command for it. So generally you will use something called as get help. Okay, just like man cp, here you will have get help, yeah, and then command. Okay, right, sir. Now let us assume that we will do this exercise. Okay, so you want to know, okay, what are the top CPU consuming process in your system. I want to know what are the processes that are running in my system. Okay, so if it is Windows, what is that we will do? We will open task manager, yeah, but I don't want to do this. Okay, I want to do this from command line. So what will I do? You are learning, you don't know much, okay, because command line is something which is new, right? Okay, so I go to Google and then I ask command, okay, or Linux command to get process, okay, to get or to list all process. So you will find loads of things how to list a running process in Linux. So what is he trying to tell? Don't basically try to look into it, look into the example. So he is trying to tell something called as PS AX. So I'll go over here, assuming that this is a Linux machine. This is not a Linux machine, but assuming that this is a Linux machine, what I'll try to do is I'll try to paste this command and I'm getting some answers. Okay, right. This anyone will do. But here, whenever we need to search these things, because there is no way that you are going to know all the commands. But at this point, what you do is, okay. So what is the command which we came to know about now? In this, what is the command? మనం కాపీ చేసిన దాంట్లో కమాండ్ ఏది? PS. AUX are arguments. So now you go to Google and then first thing what you can do is Linux PS manual. Sorry, saying this is basically the manual. Okay, right. So the basic idea is to read everything, but for every command if you start doing this it would be difficult. So at least try to look at the basic information, or the other thing which you can do is PS, okay, or PS examples Linux. You go to any article, I am okay with anything. So PS command Linux examples. So this at least try to read it. This don't skip. Okay. Now if you want to get all the process on Windows machines, list all process in PowerShell. So he is trying to tell that there is something called as get process. Now get process examples. Okay, parameters in get process, some examples are basically present somewhere. Go into this article and then try to see what are the examples which they are giving and then try to read that. Is this a very difficult approach, sir? No, right? So there is no need for you to do wonders. Just start simple. Anything which you want to do, first search what is that command, what is the command that it can do, and then don't blindly use that command, don't copy paste it. Try to understand that command. Try to understand that command. So for example, if I try to tell that, okay, somewhere during the class, okay, suddenly let us assume that you have seen someone typing this command. Let me open this. Okay, sftp -i downloads test.pem ubuntu @109.108.105.104 something like this. There is no need for you to panic. There is no way that you know all the commands. So what is the command here? sftp. Okay, so just go to the Google and then type sftp command in Linux. So just try to look into what it does. So what it is trying to tell that? It is a command that is used to transfer files on remote server. So it is basically copying files from one machine to other machine. That is basically what it speaks about. Now you scroll down and then look into examples. Yeah, అన్ని కమాండ్లు అందరికీ వచ్చే అవకాశం లేదండి. So there is no way that everyone knows all the commands. But when you come across a new command, what should be your approach? That is what we are trying to look into. Okay. Now, once you are very good with this DevOps course, Kubernetes, DevOps course and all that stuff, you will be using Kubernetes command, right? So I'm using some Kubernetes command. So what will be your approach? Okay. So you will go and figure out what kubectl is. Okay. Then you understand about what kubectl is, what are the options, then you would try to look into what the other two things which I have written over here. That is how I would want you to approach. Don't try to look at command ఇది నాకు రాదు కదా అంటే మీకు అన్ని వచ్చి ఎక్కడ ఉండాల్సిన అవసరం ఉంది. Right? There is no way that you would know everything, right? But we should start our journey. Whenever you come across a new command, what is it you are going to do from now on? First, search what that command does and then look into some examples of it. Okay. So now all you need to do is go to Google and then what is kubectl. Okay, kubectl is Kubernetes command line tool. Okay, so to speak with Kubernetes, I should probably be using this tool. So then I will try to do kubectl examples. Okay, so yeah, so there are some examples. So then figure out what is the command which you came across and then try to look into some of the commands which are present. And here they try to tell the command and how to use that command. If you know Kubernetes and then if you try to look at this command, this will be much easier. Okay. Now let me try to write one more command. Shall we do this? Yes. My next command is az group delete -n dev-rg. Okay. Now what is that you will do? Az. Okay. Az command. So it says that it is something to do with Azure CLI. Okay. Now you figure out how to use Azure CLI. What are the options? In which context you have seen this message using? Now, in this command is basically deleting something called as a resource group. If you know that it is Azure. Okay. It is not necessary that you need to know all the commands. Are we clear on this, sir? We don't know anything about Kubernetes. We don't know anything about Azure. We don't know anything about whatever commands which I have typed. But at least we are able to get some context now, right? Yes? Okay. Good, sir. So what is bash and sh? Can you please explain? Yeah, we'll go there, sir. We'll go there. First, let us go step by step. Okay. So now looking at a new command, will you be frightened? I don't want you to be. Look at what is a command, figure out what that command does. That is a new learning to you. So today, in this casual conversation, we understood that there is something called as kubectl which speaks with Kubernetes. There is something called as az which is used to speak with Azure. There is something called as AWS command which speaks with AWS. Yeah. So that is what I want you to basically understand. Okay. Right. There is one question which is being asked saying that what is bash and sh? If you remember yesterday's image in the classroom notes, this one. Are you seeing shell in here? There are different shells. So there is shell called as bash. There is shell called as zsh. There are many shells. Okay. So to interact with your kernel, there are a lot of shells that are available. bash is one kind of a shell which is called as born again shell. Okay. zsh is one more shell that is used on your Mac. So in your Mac, the terminal which you are getting, it uses this zsh. Okay. So there are many shells that are available. Okay. Right. Fine, sir. Good. So do we understand a little bit about command lines now? Do we understand what a command line argument is and what or what an argument is, what a positional argument is and what a named argument is? Okay. Good, sir. Fine. So Yesterday we were supposed to install some softwares. Okay. For some of you, the chocolatey, if you are basically getting issues with chocolatey, right? So I think once you come down to the class, then I would be able to help, because if you are online, I don't think so it is possible for me to help. On Tuesday when we start our normal classes, I can take your remote control, or I can get the help done. Okay, right. But for the people who don't have issues, what we will do is, let us try to install some softwares. Can you open your laptop, sir? Okay. Right, sir. So this is the software which is basically only for the people who are using Windows. I'll come to Mac. So who are using Mac can relax for some time, because you don't need to install this software. This is inbuilt in your system. In Windows we don't have this inbuilt. Okay. So in Windows the problem with terminals was, whenever we are using command lines, you had to basically create something like PowerShell. And when you created something like PowerShell, it creates something like this. Okay. Now in this, there is no way that if I want one more PowerShell, the option is go and do the same thing again. So quite recently what Microsoft has done is, they have started giving something called as Windows Terminal. So if you look into this terminal, you can create as many terminals as you want, just like how you create tabs in your browser. Okay. So generally when you are working as a DevOps engineer, you will be working with too many terminals. So what you need different tabs, just like how in your Google Chrome you have different tabs, right? So over here I might try to rename this tab and trying to tell that this is the work that is done for project A. So whenever I am working on project A, I'll go over here in this tab and then type something. Okay. So this interface is not there in Windows earlier. Now they have given it. Okay. So if you are using Windows 10, this is for you. Windows 11 terminal is automatically installed. If you are using Windows 11, what I want you to use is just type terminal, right click over here, and then pin to taskbar, so that you will be seeing terminal like how I see over here. Am I clear on this, sir? If you are using Windows 11, just click on Windows key, type terminal, right click, and then pin to taskbar. For me, you are seeing unpin from taskbar because it is already pinned. The moment you do that, you will have this over here, and whenever you want to launch, all you need to do is just click this. Okay, right. But if you are using Windows 10, type Windows and then type something called as store. You will be seeing Microsoft Store. Okay. So in Microsoft Store, okay. So mine is Windows 11. I don't need this, but still, you can search for apps over here and search for an app called as Terminal. Okay. So for me, it is already available, so I am not doing this. But try to select the app which is Windows Terminal, not Windows Terminal Preview. Okay. Preview, you will always get the latest versions, which might have errors. So don't do that. Try to install Terminal. Okay. So for the people who are using Mac, can you type command space and then which opens the Spotlight terminal, and there type terminal. So are you seeing the terminal there? So in that terminal, if you try to basically click on terminal on the window, there will be something on the top of your screen which is like shell. Yeah. On the shell, you can, if you basically click on it, you are seeing two sections called as new window or new tab. New tab. So if you want tabs, there is nothing which you need to do. You automatically get on Mac. That's the reason you don't require this stuff. Will terminal open as Windows admin? No. So yeah. So for the people who want to open as administrator terminal, what you need to do is press the shift key, hold the shift key, and right click over here, and then you would be seeing run as administrator. Okay, that is how you do it, Gopi. Right, sir. Fine then. So Mac people don't need this software anywhere. Yeah, because you already have terminal. There is no need for you to, because whenever you type anything that requires as admin, it will ask for your password. Yeah. Right. Fine then. Windows has this concept of admin, and in Linux, if you want to run something as admin, you type sudo. Sudo, sudo. Okay. Whenever you type that command in front of some command, that means that you are running as administrator. Okay. Right. Now the first software which I want to install is Git. So first, Windows 10, I want you to install terminal. Windows 11, terminal is already present for you, pinned to the taskbar. Okay. Now whether it is Windows or whether it is Linux, we need Git. But this is the only software which we will install manually in Windows. I want to install the software manually in Windows. The reason for that is, okay, for example, if you try to see over here, am I saying git bash here? If you use Choco install git, you will not be getting this stuff over here. You have to do some extra work. You have to do some extra work. So all you need to do is double click it, download it, okay, and click next until it says finished. But okay, yesterday I think I have given you a YouTube video already. In that I might have shown that there is one tab where you need to select Windows terminal option. I will be giving that link today also. Just do that. Okay, right. For the people who are using Mac, just go to Google and then type brew and git. Okay. So are you seeing some command called as brew install git? Yeah. So copy that, run it in your terminal. Your command is brew install git. Right? Command line. Yeah. Simple, sir. Are we clear on this? Yeah. So on the Windows machine, if you are using Git, in the last class I have given you one video link to watch. Okay. So where was it? 29. Yeah. Right. So I'll just give that link in today's notes also. Okay. So if you watch this YouTube video, in this there is a way on how to install Git and how to select that option which I was speaking about for Windows users. Okay. So once you install Git, the way to check Git is whenever you install any software, not only Git, whenever you install command line softwares. Okay. The most easiest way always to check anything is, if I want to check Git --version. So this should not tell command not found. So for example, I don't have anything called as Gitty. Okay, there is nothing called as Gitty by the way, but I am just typing this. So it tries to tell that you will get this error. This error represents two things. You have not installed software, or you have installed software but not configured completely. Okay. Second scenario we will discuss in next session. Okay, what is that configured correctly means? Because by the end of today's class, I will be defining one problem statement. Based on that, we will try to understand it. So, git --version. So, when you install Choco, also I have asked you to do the same thing. Choco --version. This is the easiest way to figure out whether the software is installed in your system or not. Okay. Right, sir. The next software which I want everyone to install is Visual Studio Code. So for the people who are using Windows, my assumption is you have Chocolatey installed on your system. So all you need to do is Choco Visual Studio Code. Search on this. What is the command? Choco install VS Code. So but whenever you are trying to do that, give -y. -y, if you try to see, is a named argument. What it is trying to tell is, when it asks, do you want to confirm installation, it will try to tell yes. Whenever you are installing, -y tries to tell that don't ask me all the stupid questions. My answer is yes. I have granted you everything. That is what -y means. Okay, right. So now you execute this and you will be able to see Windows Visual Studio Code. Now, if it is Mac, brew Visual Studio Code. The command is so once you do this, you would be able to see VUI. Once you install this, go to the Spotlight search, command space, and type Visual Studio. You will be able to see the editor, and then you would be able to use that. Are you clear on this, sir? Execute this command. Yeah? Then terminal run using. All these commands you have to run that on terminal. Yeah, you will get the same UI. This is Visual Studio Code, by the way. Wherever I am trying to type notes, this is Visual Studio Code. So for today, these two are enough. Okay? If it asks, you give. Otherwise, it is not required. Okay? Brew will automatically take it. Yes? Okay, sir. Now, till here, I want everyone's laptop to have these softwares. Chocolate installed, Git installed, Visual Studio Code installed. Yes. There are other things also. We'll try to eventually install them also. Okay? Right. So can we do till this point? Yes? Okay. Now, there is one problem which I have, sir. So, do I have Google Chrome in my system? Yeah. I go to command line and I type Notepad. Can you enter that if you are using Windows? If you are using Windows, go to any command prompt, PowerShell or whatever it is, and click on enter. Is it opening Notepad? Good. Now, Notepad is present in my system, it is opening. Good. No, Notepad. Just Notepad. Okay. So, Chrome is also installed on my system, right? Why am I getting this error? Type that if you want, if you in your system. Yeah, Google Chrome ankotala. Google Chrome. Huh? Get Chrome. You tell me anything, I'll get the same error all the time. My question is, why is this happening? Is there something problem? Yeah. Why is Chrome is installed on my machine? Do you all agree with me on this? In your system also it is installed. Okay, let us assume Google and Microsoft have some rivalry. Okay. Edge comes with OS, right? Yeah. So let me try Edge or MS Edge. It is also not opening. Why do you think this is happening? Okay. So this is what we are going to understand tomorrow. Okay. So this the solution to this problem will take us to a very important concept, which is common to all operating systems. Sometimes you might write, sir, I have installed Java on my system, but it is trying to tell command not found. I have installed something on my system, it is not working correctly. So I have installed Chocolatey, but it is trying to tell Choco not found. Or I don't know what is the command which you are typing. What do I mean by this statement? That is something which we will understand. Okay? Right, sir? Okay. Yes, Sagar, you are right on your answer, but we will elaborate on that. Okay? Fine. Okay. So are we clear? Are the things interesting? Yes? Are we learning at least one thing which we didn't knew yesterday? Please do this for 21 days. Do at least have a habit of learning one thing which you didn't knew yesterday every day. Do this for 21 days. Then it will become a habit. So every day before sleeping, you will have habit of learning something important, anything. It can be anything. It necessarily might not be a very complex thing, but one thing every day. This habit will take you a very far in IT, because as long as you're working in software industry, things change all the time, and when it changes all the time, we need to have a habit of learning also. Okay, right? Otherwise, you'll become obsolete. Yeah. Wonderful, sir. Yeah. Okay. Good. So the notes is also uploaded. Okay. Yeah. This is the notes. In 2 minutes in directdevops.blog site, you should be able to see the notes, and I'll be adding that to the description of this video also. Okay. Wonderful, sir. So let me stop it at that, and we'll meet again tomorrow, same time, to continue the discussion.